welcome. Come on in the room, y'all. Come on in the room. I've missed y'all so much. Welcome to the Throne Talk podcast, season 3. We've made it, y'all. We've made it to season 3. Not only that, but it is the month of June, which means it is our 1 year anniversary. Yes, period. Like, give it up for yourselves. Give it up for me. I'm going to give it up for me, even if you don't. But I give it up for myself because it's just like, man, I did not predict me being a podcaster. Now, me talking, running my mouth, absolutely. It's what I do. It's what I love to do. However, having a podcast was not on my radar at all. But we are here. We are present. And I am so grateful to be in this seat. The throne, the glory throne. So those of you who are new, first, how about this? How about you go ahead and rate the podcast? I mean, rate it afterwards, be genuine about it. Rate the podcast. Make sure you give me at least, 3 stars, 4 stars, 5, preferably. But make sure that you rate this podcast, comment, share on social media. Speaking of social media, I need for y'all to follow the Glory Throne Academy pages on Facebook and Instagram. That is GLORYTHRONEACADEMY. I kind of get hooked up on the spelling there. But listen up. The Throne Talk podcast, for those of you who are new, is about me sharing my life experiences. Most of them have to do with my pageant experiences because I am about to be 29 this month. And I spent all of my 20s really, in the pageant industry because I'm technically still in it as a pageant coach. Long story short, I did a lot of my growing in this industry, right? And there were a lot of trials, tribulations, victories, and such great moments that define who I am as a woman, that has shaped me into the woman that I am today. So I use those experiences and life experiences to help you all navigate through life. So even though I was in pageantry, it doesn't change the fact that, if I'm learning a lesson about discipline, that you can learn a lesson about discipline as well too, right? Absolutely. So welcome for those of you who are new. I'm glad to have you here. Y'all, let me just let y'all know now that I am currently looking at myself. Y'all can see me looking at myself on YouTube, but I have now switched to visuals. So if this is something that you want to look at visually, you can now go on YouTube and listen and look at me talk. So it could be more personal and you could feel like I'm like right there talking to you if that's the feel that you're going for. So a lot has happened. Life been kicking my butt, but I've been kicking life's butt too, and it ain't winning. It be feeling like it's gonna win, but it hasn't been winning. And I'm just so grateful to be on this side of glory. And I'm so grateful to have the perspective that I have now, which leads me to our topic for today, baby. Hey, baby, this one right here. No lie. This is a download from the Lord. I promise you. And today's topic is, it's a pity party. Yep, it's a pity party. So those of you who can see me, I'm going to kind of be looking at my notes a little bit. So don't judge me, judge your mama. But so let's talk about what a pity party is. When we hear a pity party, we're essentially thinking about people who just feel so sorry for themselves. Like, oh my God, like, nothing ever good happens to me. Everybody is against me. People who always have the mindset of, defeat and want people to come and join them, right? No, that's not what we're doing here. Today, we are redefining what a pity party is. Today's pity party is about those of you who are going through a struggle. You're in a certain space or a certain moment in time in life where it's just real thick right now. Life is happening and it's like, oh my God, what do I do? How do I get myself out of this? Or how can I stay in one piece as I am waiting on the promises of God? And if you don't subscribe to God, but you're at least waiting on your breakthrough or waiting on that thing that you've been working so hard for, right? So today's topic is about those of you who are in the pit, but the party is actually you changing your perspective and changing your outlook and posture while you are in this moment in time. Woo! Baby, let me tell you, it's hard. Yeah, it's been hard for me too. I can't even lie. I won't even lie to you. It's been tough. It's been real thick, as I stated before. So let me just give y'all an example of what I'm talking about, of changing your perspective and your posture and not getting in a funk. But even though you are necessarily entitled to throw a pity party, even though you are, you have every right to throw a pity party, we're going to change how this party is going to go. And we're actually, like I said, going to change our perspective and our posture in it all so we can actually get the breakthroughs that we need and the victories that we need in it. So let's go ahead and start with a pageant example. So in 2017, I think I talked about this before on a previous episode about how in 2017, I bombed my talent at Miss South Carolina. Now, people were already expecting me to do a great job because obviously I'm very passionate about music and passionate about performing as well. And, I had won, I won a prelim talent the year before. So people were talent was something that they wasn't concerned about when it came to me. And obviously with me neither. And for some reason, I had this toxic trait of always going higher and doing more and doing better, right? When I didn't realize that just trying to always go to a higher level when really sometimes it's just about perfecting your talent and your gift, right? Now I know that. However, that year, I didn't do so good on my talent. And the stakes were high and people were kind of predicting me to be in top 5, to win, all the things. And when I didn't do so good on my talent, I knew it. There are some people who, kind of don't know when they've dropped the ball. They still have like this mindset of entitlement. Like, I don't understand why this didn't happen. Like me, no. I am very realistic. I'm a realist a lot of the times. And I knew this would get in the way or be somewhat of a distraction of qualifying me for the title, which, that ultimately wasn't it. But I can admit that I knew that people had kind of took me down on their list of winning after I had did my talent. Long story short, after it was over, none of my people, like my family, my friends, my directors, people who I had made relationships with in the organization, no one said anything to me, right? And I was like, why nobody had, like, so if you do really, really good, right, in a phase of competition, people always text you and be like, girl, you killed that. You did that. Like, they'll let you know, like, oh my God, I was blown away, right? But when you do bad, more than likely, they're not going to say anything. Or they're going to say something to kind of like smooth it over. Or they'll be like, okay, like let's just continue, something like that. But this particular night, no one said anything to me. And I'm just like, why nobody didn't text me? And it's because when I'm in my head about it, I'm in my head about it. And I don't want anything else, anyone else saying anything to me. Because I know it was terrible. I don't really need critique a lot of times because I'm so hard on myself. People know that. And so I know for a fact that's why they communicated. That's why they didn't say anything to me that night. Long story short, I only had one phase of competition left, which was on stage question. And that was the least percentage of the score. And people usually look at on stage question like, oh yeah, like it really doesn't matter as long as you sound good on stage. But it was only at the time, I want to say, either like 5 to 10% of the score. So it does come across as irrelevant, or it did come across as irrelevant. And I remember being like, everybody was asleep. This was the night after the competition, or the preliminary competition was over, and I had just, like I said, didn't do so good with my talent, or as expected. And everybody is asleep. Nobody's really like, before everybody goes to sleep, no one is really saying anything to me. Like text message, face to face, like nothing. I was getting hugs, I was getting like encouragement with the hugs and stuff like, oh, hey baby, stuff like that. But far as like telling me what I did wrong, nobody did it. Because like I said, I didn't really need that because I knew it. Anyway, long story short, time passed and it's time for everybody to go to sleep. I'm still up because I'm just like, I just messed up my opportunity to be Miss South Carolina. I went to the gym. I got on the treadmill. And I was just so in my head about it all. And I remember saying to myself, Micaiah, because I heard somebody else say it before, there's 4 quarters in a game. You still got one more quarter to go. Why are you counting yourself out? And I turned on some Eric Thomas. If you do not know who Eric Thomas is, he will get you right. Okay? He will definitely get you right. And he's definitely the motivational speaker that's going to make sure you don't feel bad about yourself or feel bad about where you at. He's very much a motivational speaker who promotes persistency. And I turned him on. I got on the treadmill. I started running as fast as I could. And I was just like, I'm ready. Like, I'm ready. And even though it was only on stage question, I changed my perspective about what it meant. I knew it was my time to redefine what it meant to succeed or to do well in on-stage question. I was like, I got to change it up. I got to shift it up. Like, I got to make it different. I got to put myself back in the game. If somebody counted me out, I'm back in it. I got to get myself back in the game. So the next day came. It's the next day of competition. And it's time for on-stage question. And it's actually set up like an interview, an on-stage interview. And there were 2 other girls on the couch with me doing the on-stage question as well. So it started off as like, hey girls, what's it was like, what's something that we should know behind the scenes, like with pageantry. And I was just kind of like, well, they said, okay, so let me run it back for y'all. Before we went on stage, I told the girls, I was like, look, we got to do this. Let's make this like super, super fun. Let's go on stage and kind of like, I was basically telling them, let's redefine what on stage question means and let's make it fun. Let's do this. And they were like, okay, we're on board. They did not do what we talked about. They did not do what we discussed on stage. And I was actually left out there alone to kind of like do what I said I was going to do. Because if you think about it, it wasn't their assignment, it was mine. They weren't counted out, I was. Why did I need that support in that way? Or why did I need someone to be with me to do what I needed to do? Does that make sense? Like, it was what I was supposed to do. Long story short, we go on stage and they're just like, girls, what? They were like, what's some tea about pageantry that goes on behind stage that no one knows about? And one girl said, butt glue, and a typical answer, right? And the other girl, she was just like, sometimes you fall down the steps, because she had just previously won swimsuit competition. And so it was kind of like a flex, which I can't be mad at. It was a slight flex because she had fell down the steps, but she had just won like a prelim. Like, she just won swimsuit competition for the previous night or the 2 nights prior. So it was just kind of flexing like, yeah, I failed, but I won. So they did they did what they needed to do. And then I said, sometimes you forget to put on deodorant. I was like, sometimes you forget to put on deodorant, and you be out here dancing for opening number, but who can smell you? Nobody can smell you. And it was my goal to make the crowd feel something, and they laughed. It was a shock at first, because it's just like, did you really give us the tea for real? Because we wasn't serious when we said give us the tea for real. And they laughed, like the crowd laughed, and even the two people who were interviewing us, the committee members of the Miss South Carolina Scholarship Organization, they laughed, they chuckled, but it was just kind of like, oh my God, did she just say that? But then when they saw that the crowd was like laughing, because I think everybody was unsure about laughing, because it's just like, I don't think we're supposed to say this in pageantry. And when everybody realized, like, wait, this is funny, everybody kind of like laughed gradually together. And it was just like, oh my God. Long story short, that was the group question, like an interactive question for all of us. Then they asked us our individual questions. And mine was, what does liberate the mind mean? Which was my platform at the time. Liberating the mind, eliminating negative thinking. And baby, I basically was like, I spent the block on them. I let them see that I wasn't afraid of what I did the previous night before. Like, I made it very clear that I wasn't intimidated by my mistakes. And so I told them, I said, last night I didn't do as good as I wanted to do. I didn't do as good as I wanted to do, and I felt so defeated about it all. But I said, Makia, your platform is liberating the mind. I said, so you be aware of what you're thinking about. You be accountable to someone about what you're thinking about, and you eliminate the negative thinking, and you go back out there and you perform, and you do on-stage question. And if you're given the opportunity to be in top 16, then you're just going to start over and give it the best you got. Now, I didn't even say it like that. I said it with so much passion, and I was really, really pushing for myself at that point, because like I said, I even counted myself out. And I was just like, oh my God, I got to do something. And it was in that moment, I personally believe that I redefined what onstage question looked like, or what it should sound like. And starting off with, making the people laugh, range. Let's get into the range. You get what I'm saying? I made them laugh, but then I also made them realize you can't be defeated. That's good range for an onstage question, when girls typically go on stage and say your typical pageant answer, world peace, which, I mean, people don't really do that, but the typical pageant Patty answer, I didn't want to give that. I'm just like, look, I'm the woman for the job, and that's exactly what I did. And I was so proud of myself for persisting in that way. It was so good to the point where people were coming up to me and they were just like, Micaiah, oh my God. It's like they counted me back in then, because I didn't count myself out. I put myself back in the game. I'm like, look, we got one more phase of competition to go. I'm ready, you know? But if I would have, that night, if I would have just sat in my funk and had the, what people know as the pity party, I would have basically eliminated myself out of the competition. I would have gave up on myself. The people who had invested in me, whether financially, emotionally, spiritually, coaches, I would have basically said, y'all, it's over. But I didn't. I couldn't afford to do that. I had a lot at stake, and I wanted it to be known, like, look, y'all invested in the right person. Like, Micaiah, you are here for a reason. And although you had a little shakeup, it doesn't mean that you can't be Miss South Carolina. It doesn't mean that you can't make top 16, top 10, And I proceeded to make top 10 that year. And I think about that a lot, and how the party was me on the pity party, because technically I was in the pit during that time, right? The pity party at that time, or the pit at that time, was me on the treadmill, and the party that I curated was persistency. That's what the vibe was of the party. It wasn't the vibe of, oh my God, it's over. No, it wasn't even that type of pity party. It was like, look, we down here, but we about to go back up. We going back up. Like, dust yourself off and try again. And I think I exemplified that so many times in the industry, or while I was competing. It's just like, look, I'm unstoppable, which is something, a trait that you should want in a queen, or anyone who is representing you in any way, shape, or form, that this person can't be defeated. Like, oh my God. And that's exactly what I exemplified. Even I want to give an example, a fresh off the press example. Today, with me doing this visual, like switching to visual, right? I'm not going to say I've been wanting to do it for a while, but I know now that it's very essential, or it can be very effective if you have both the podcast that you could listen to and the one that you could listen to and look at the same time, because that's the movement right now in this moment in time. So I've been trying to figure out, I've been wrecking my brain about how to get this done. And so I'm thinking of all the people and all of the businesses that I could probably or potentially book with to do my visual, whatever I wanted to do for this podcast. When in reality, I had everything I need. I mean, the people who are listening to this, you can't see, but the people on YouTube looking right now, look, this is not even your standard or typical setting or scenery, right? But it still doesn't change the fact that I have everything that I need to be successful. I was even gonna not do it this way or this angle because of this paint being chipped off right here. Y'all can't see it for those of you who are listening, but come on over to YouTube and look at it. But I wasn't even going to record it because I'm just like, but it's just like, it works. I have a microphone. And the way my studio for music recording is set up, I have like this thing that goes around my microphone, and it's super heavy just to kind of keep the noise out. And, I was just like, oh my God, like I don't have a microphone like everybody else. And I'm just like, do y'all see this? Like, this is the same microphone that everybody else uses. I mean, of course, it's not the exact same one because everybody has different ones, but it gets the job done. That's the point. And when I realized, I'm like, Makia, you have an iPad. Makia, you have a phone. Like, you've invested in the equipment, but now you have to change your perspective about what you have and allow God to show you how to use it. And now look at me. Look at me. I'm on YouTube, y'all. I had to get myself, I was really in a funk about it. And there were other things happening around me, right? Other thing, like I said, life just been life. And so it hasn't just been about this podcast or anything like that. It's been some deep other stuff that I've been going through that I might share later. Anyway, I was just so distraught about how I was going to get this done. But then I prayed. I was like, obviously, God, I need to learn how to work my oil. I got to learn how to work my oil. If you're not aware of the woman in the Bible whose husband had passed away, and she pretty much had, like, she was in debt. She was in debt. She couldn't pay her debt off. They were getting ready to take her children from her, and take her stuff from her. And so she went to the prophet Elisha, who her husband had served at one point in time. And she was like, hey, my husband, your servant, is dead. And he served you well. And basically she was just like, we are lacking over here. You need to do something about it. That's a pity party, y'all. Or the pity party that the world, what the world defines as a pity party. She was like, you need to do something about it, because do you not care that we are perishing, basically? And Prophet Elisha was just like, what do you have in your house? And she was like, I don't got nothing but some oil. First of all, she said, I have nothing. I have nothing, but some oil. That's it. Meaning that she saw the oil as worthless. But when you take what you have to somebody who knows what they're talking about, who knows what they're doing, that, that could be mentors, coaches. Ultimately, though, it's God, right? It's God. When you take it to him, he'll show you what to do with it. Because this is what happened in the story. This is the next part of the story. He told her, he said, take that oil, go to your neighbors and ask to borrow some vessels. Put the oil in the vessels and sell it. Sell it. She made money off of it. She paid her debt, and then there was some oil left over in her house, which means she had enough to provide for herself and her children. So I said all that to say, when I said, God, show me how to work my oil, show me what I have already. Just show me what I have already. Because obviously life is bombarding me right now, and life is really challenging me, and I'm overwhelmed. And obviously it's making my vision blurry, right? It's making my vision blurry, or making me, or influencing me not to see what I actually have in my possession. So please show me, what do I have? Show me how to work my oil. And not only this, there are some other things that he revealed to me as well. But this right here, just knowing that I already had everything that I needed to be successful, which is an affirmation that I practice with my personal training clients. So if you're looking for a personal trainer online, I'm your girl. Shameless plug. Anywho, but when he showed me, like, Makia, you have everything that you need to be successful. You just got to get out of your funk, get out of your pity party, and do what needs to be done. Or not even get out of it, but I need for you to change your perspective about the pit that you are in. This is what you consider the bottom, people. This is what you consider starting from the bottom, because, of course, I'm just going based off of numbers, views, money, and whatever. What people consider, what the world considers as the bottom. This is it. Even though you don't feel like it is. I know what the world considers it as, which is the bottom. And so when you're at the bottom, like I said, it's so hard to see what you already have in your possession when you're looking up And you're just like, oh my God, like, what about me? I don't have what they have. And that's the mindset that I had. Those are some of the thoughts that came across my mind. Like, oh my God, I don't have what they have. And it's like, you have everything that they have, girl. And I had to tighten up. Basically, it's just like, look, you have everything that you need to be successful, my kid. You have the mic, you have the iPad, you have cameras, you got lights, you got everything. Set it up. Work your oil. It's not just oil. It's the thing that's going to get you through. It's that thing that's going to get you what you need. And I had a breakthrough because of it. So I'm saying this to you because I need for you to shift the mood and the vibe of the pity party. This is not the pity party where you feel sorry for yourself. This is the pity party where you say, like, look, I know I'm at what the world considers as the bottom, but guess what, baby? I'm on my way up because I have a revelation. Not only that, I got the keys to unlock the door. And let's be clear, greatness is not, people don't obtain greatness because they're just walking through doors and just like, hey, I want to go through the door of greatness. Let me just walk through it. No, it has a key. The doorknob is kind of hard to turn. And it's just like you have to ask God, like, what's the key? What's the tea with me? Like, what do I need to do in this season to help me get through this door? Like, I already know I just tapped into something with this visual stuff, right? Or just being able to use what I already have. I was about to spend money. I was about to just stress myself out for what? For why? For why? Why was I about to stress myself out when I had everything in my possession? I already had my oil. I just needed someone to show me how to work my oil. And so that's why I had to pray to God and say, God, show me how to work my oil. Show me what I already have in my possession. And he did just that. So that's my prayer for you today. Is for you to understand that you already have everything that you need. Now, is it going to look like anybody else or what everybody else got going on? No. And that's the point. We want it to be special. We want it to be different. We want it to be, unique, right? So don't get caught up on the details. The details are distractions. Just understand and have confidence that it's not the stuff. It's not the video. It's not the microphone. It's not the lighting. It's not any of that. It's me. It's you. It's you. Like, it's absolutely you. You carry the gift. And all this stuff right here that's around me, they're just tools. They're just dead items. They're items. They have no life. I give it life. You give it life. So whatever you decide or whatever God shows you and reveals to you, he's telling you or showing you these things or how to use these things because he knows that it's going to be you that give it life. You are the key. What you have inside of you is what's going to unlock that door. Baby girl, baby boy, I'm telling you, that's what's going to unlock that door for you. So today, like I said, my prayer is that you change your perspective about the pit, about the bottom, right? Let's change the vibe of the party. The pity party is actually us celebrating, us changing our perspective, us changing our posture about where we are, because this is a sweet moment in life and in time. I have to keep telling myself that over and over that, my kid, this is the good part. This is the part of the story where you reflect back and you let people know, like, this is when I was, like when you hear people's success stories and they're just like, I was grinding, da da da, I was blah blah blah, I was doing this every single day, I was da 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 da, I didn't have anything, so I had to do this. Like, this is the sweet spot. So if you are experiencing resistance right now and you're questioning if you're worthy of the things that you want in life or if you're worthy of the promises of God, right? I'm here to tell you that you are worthy. But don't let life's trials and tribulations punk you out. Count yourself back in. Do not count yourself out. Just like how I did that night at Miss South Carolina in 2017, June 2017. So that was what, like 6 years ago? I didn't count myself out. I had a moment where I wanted to. I'm just like, there's still a fourth quarter in the game. There's still another opportunity for me to present myself as the woman for the job. And so today I want you to turn up. Praise God in this season of your life. Like I was listening to what's the song? I Almost Let Go. And in the song, she says something about, the devil thought he had me, but Jesus came and grabbed me. God held me close so I wouldn't let go. Those words alone, God held me close so I wouldn't let go. I want to let go. Oh, I want to let go so bad. Oh my God. I just want to just give up. But God is holding me closer. Not only is he going to hold you closer in the season of your life, but he's also going to reveal to you how to use your oil in the season, show you what you already have in your possession, and he's also going to be with you in the bottom, in the pit, and y'all about to have a good old time, a good old party. Okay? Okay. All right, y'all. That was it for episode 14, I believe, season 3. Yes, happy anniversary to us. I am so grateful for y'all. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tapping in. Congratulations to us for switching to visual. Like I said, don't forget to rate this podcast for me. Give me the stars. I want the stars. Okay. So, make sure you follow us on Glory Throne Academy, and I will see y'all for the next episode. I love y'all. Bye.